Oh, it's getting serious. I've been building for a long time now. It's going to be a while before I can get out this series that I'm about to do. This is the start, episode 00. There's going to be a 0 episode, a one, two, three, four, and that's just off of one video that's like an hour and 50 minutes long. And I've already got like 5 or 6 timestamps in there, and each one's going to be a video, probably close anywhere from shortish 15 minutes to possibly an hour, hour and a half, breaking down the erasure, the servitude, and the humbling of the host country's population, which is what Demis means, okay? It's a whole series. Here, let me go ahead and get into live. We need to get this going. Let me go ahead and let me remove some of these real quick. That one's fine. All right, so I'm gonna read this to you real quick. So a dhimmi or a dhimma is the person who pays jizya tax. So when they and a jizya tax is what you owe the Muslims because they're the greater race. Okay, I'm fixing to have this guy, like I said, in the next couple of videos going over he's going to break it down for you. And I'm because I'm Native American and I've only walked the life and been inside the mosque for 9 years as a teenager studying the religion. I have studied it ever since then, and I keep up with it and everything. But I'm just a Native American in Texas. I'm just a born on the island Texas boy, right? So, what impact do I have? So, I've been going around finding other people from already conquered nations who might have a video out. And the guy just did one 2 days ago, and that's we're about to watch his where he sums up his whole hour and 50-minute video in a shorter section. And that's because I want to get some other stuff out talking to y'all. So let's read this. So the jizya tax is what you owe them for protection. So when they come over here to your country and get on your welfare, they're not getting off your welfare. That's the jizya. You owe them that money. Then they're just gonna have a bunch of kids and outbreed you, and you owe them money for those kids too, and stay on welfare. And then they're going to move into find a place that only has 500 or 4,000 residents, and it's going to be a place that can put a congressman in or a mayor or something, and they'll move from Houston or Dallas. They'll send 4,000 of them over there. Now it's 4,000 Muslims and 4,000 regular citizens. Well, not all 4,000 citizens vote, so but all 4,000 Muslims are going to vote, and instantly they take over your city. And once they do that, they have the right to just build enclaves and say, we're not going to do Sharia law no more. I mean, we're not going to do constitutional law. You have to sign a contract and blah, blah, blah. And it'll only be Sharia law. And I'll prove at the end of this. So if you stay with me at the end of this, we're fixing to see a news reel that just came out while I was trying to get this set up to launch. And, uh, and I'll let you know that everything this man's saying is already happening, and we're at a point where we literally need to step up our game. So let me get this back on, and I'll read it to you. So the Arabic word means protected person or someone with a pact. Under traditional Islamic law, dhimmis are non-Muslim citizens in an Islamic state or a place that they control. So if they got a little town of yours and they're building Epic City, the Meadows, or some other enclave where it's all Sharia law, that's the Islamic state they're talking about, who get government protection for their lives and properties. And literally, the jizya tax is for your life. You either die, you either convert, or you pay a tax, and the tax is so great you'll eventually either convert or you'll fight back and they'll kill you. So and the property is theirs, you don't own it, and so they're already protecting it, but you're allowed to live on it temporarily as long as you keep paying that tax. So anyway, the relationship works like this: the pact dhimmis agree to live under the rules of the state, in this case Sharia law, and pay a tax. And like I said, the next video I have I'll show you the actual amount. Omar, Aram. So not like Ilian Omar with the O. This has A's in it. So anyway, where he explains the whole list of things that dhimmis have to do, and if they break any one of them, you're dead. So, like I said, wait for future videos. That'll either be part 0 or part 1, maybe part 2, somewhere in there, within the first 5 parts series. Because this is a series on mainstream Islam and Muslim mindset to this day. So we're going to show you how they were when they first started. Uh, uh, the world was before the 500 AD, where Muhammad was born, and then we're going to show you what happened afterwards. That's what this series is going to walk through. We're going to be talking about the history of all these countries that they've already taken over. We're going to be listening to the people that actually went through it, like real Copts or Egyptians from back in the day that were Christian first until Muhammad invented his cult and then came in and took over. Now there's only like 15% left in Africa or in Egypt. That's it. Those are the original people. They were Christians. And the reason why there's only 15% is because either you pay the tax too long and it kills you, because one of the rules in the dhimmis is and why he made it is to milk them like a camel, like a milk camel, and keep milking them until the milk runs dry and the blood runs. In other words, milk them till they have nothing left, and then when they can't pay the money, you just kill them, because it's on the whole community. They literally put the whole tax on the whole community. So even if half the community converts to Islam or moves away or dies, the other half is left with that same amount of money. Okay, it doesn't get less because there's less people, and so those people's burdens grow greater and greater. So the more people that leave and convert to Islam or die for refusing to pay the tax or sneaks out of the country and moves on, it puts more of a burden on the people left until they can't pay it at all, and they're going to kill them or they have to convert. So anyways, we'll get into that. Like I said, future videos, more expansion on that. But the protection in return, the government protects their safety, property, and freedom of religion. No, that's not right at all. You lose your freedom of religion because that R Arah Omar Omar R Amar. Anyways, it's an A instead of an O. So instead of Omar, it's an A. Anyways, yeah. So you don't got freedom of religion because in that packet literally tells you what you could do with your religion, and basically you can't preach about it, you can't proselytize for it, you can't be happy about it, you can't be out on the street. If you see a Muslim, you have to give up your seat. You can't say nothing about Christianity. I mean, like, it goes in dark, like completely into hiding. Okay, and we'll see in future videos. I got to get these all rounded up. But we'll see in future videos where even here in America, the cops are coming out and harassing the regular people for preaching on the side of the street just because Muslims walked by and didn't like it. And the cops are trying to write tickets for that or take you to jail or something. I mean, this is already happening. So when we watch these histories about this Egyptian guy telling you about his family and what they went through, because he's been Egyptian, his mother and his father are full Copt Egyptian. So anyways, when we hear about all that, we'll understand that it didn't die away. It is literally happened the same way right now, how Africa was first took over, which was the largest Christian community, and now it's only 15%. Like, literally, it's all Muslims now. So anyways, the reason Muslims pay a religious wealth tax called the zakat, and so dhimmis pay a jizya instead. This tax also traditionally exempts them from fighting in the army. No, it doesn't. You can't fight in their army because they don't want to fight next to anybody that's not a Muslim. Okay, so you can't be a what they call a slave Muslim. So if you're a black person and you're Muslim, like the Somalis, you're not a Muslim. You're underneath them. You're gonna anyway. And they say the exception is women, children, elderly, the poor, sick people do not have to pay. But when that community that's being Jesus taxed grows lower and lower and lower because the men are going to run away, and the women might not, who didn't have a man to help them get away or whatever, are going to be left. They're going to pay the tax. So that's a lie. So this is if you look up uh through AI asking the question of what is the person called who has to pay the jizya tax. I had to do this 3 times and get on the AI because he didn't want. He was like, "Oh, there is no slaves in Islam. There no slaves pay a jizya tax." So I had to keep rewording it and telling AI to answer correctly. So anyway, let's move on. Let me get this out the way. Go to here. Here's the video. Let's watch this now.
So there we are, and there it is. We started off looking at our Egyptian soccer team to recap. And the video, if you haven't watched my video, go watch it. Like I said, it's very short, but you'll see the prayer that I'm referring to. And then we looked at it and we realized the problem isn't that they're praying to their God or that their religion says other people are wrong. It's that by name, it attacks and demonizes other people who exist, not just non-believers, not just, okay, if you're not a Christian, you're on the road to hell, okay, and I feel bad for you, but it's Christians are bad people. Jews are bad people. Okay, this is what this religion teaches. That's very different. It's very dangerous. It's what leads to what we're looking at. And that's why we saw from just a harmless soccer game, we now went and looked at where these soccer players come from. Egypt, where Mr. Hossam Hassan, the coach, comes from. Well, they come from Egypt, and you find the same mentality is at work, both in the soccer clubs where cops are not allowed to play because people see their cross, their tattoo, they hear their name, and they say, okay, you're not wanted. Even after they've done well and they were accepted, then they find out, then they kick them out, as I showed you in that report. But above and beyond the question of sports, we've seen how this kind of mentality permeates itself in the society. Okay, so of course, discrimination on all levels in the economic, in the workforce. Okay, professorships, any job in Egypt that is kind of like a prestigious job. There's no way a cop could ever get it. Everyone knows that. But then we saw the attacks. We saw how the living spirits of the conditions or the stipulations of Omar still guide the way Muslims think. Collective punishment. Christians need to know their place, or we rise up against them. Just happened 2 days ago. When whatever we want, we want their women, we'll take them, and the police will look the other way. All of that stems from these core scriptures. The Christian is the enemy. He's beneath us. He needs to know his place. He needs to, another important point, jizya, I told you, was, you're substituting your life. You're paying for exchange for your life, right? Since it's been gone, because I told you it was abolished due to the colonial era, a lot of Muslims justify robbing Christians, doing whatever and break and somehow financially exploiting them as this is jizya now. This is my rightful jizya because you guys don't pay it and you live among us. How dare you? Okay. There was a famous video by the Pakistani cleric in Britain, Anjum Chowdhury. Remember him? And there was that video where he actually, because he was getting all sorts of welfare, him and his wives and his multiple children. And he basically called it, yeah, it's jizya. It's all right. The infidel, the Brits, they pay us jizya because we're their overlords. And he was laughing about it. Okay. So that also informs some of the Muslim mentality of today, and as well as in Egypt. And the worst part is, what happened. We saw the conquest of Egypt. It was a Christian nation. We saw Muslims conquer it. We've seen what happened to them all those years. I told you, if you really want the deep dive, you want the gory details, get this book, Sword Over the Nile. You can get it on Amazon.
All right. So what he's talking about is when Egypt, the football team, the soccer team for us Americans, since I'm going to be talking directly to Americans, the soccer team, before their game against Argentina, performed that ritual that's at the beginning of the Quran. It's a prayer, or they're just reciting the Quran, but it's a prayer that literally relates to them being the superior race. Everybody else, especially Christians, because that's what the whole Quran was written to be about, to not care about Christians, because Jews are the brother or the brother-in-law. So let me break it down real quick. Ishmael, just to let you know, okay? So Isaac and Ishmael, when Abraham got told that Sarah would have a child and she was 90 or something, they were old. And so Sarah was like, well, take my maidservant. And so he did. And they had Ishmael. And then a couple years later, an angel showed up and was like, "No, Sarah will have," and that's when he said, "But we're old now. How would we have babies? She's already past the baby having age." And like, "Oh, don't worry about it. God can handle that. Basically, don't lose faith." And so Sarah did. Sarah had a child, and that's the one that struggled. Anyways, so Ishmael is the one that didn't get the blessing. Uh, and Ishmael's line is the Muslims today. So that's the Ishmaelites. So anyway, so the Egypt soccer team will not allow any cops, Egyptians, like this man right here, he's full-blooded Egyptian, will not allow anybody. And the people who have gotten on the soccer team have been kicked off once they found out, because it's mandatory to put your religion down and not lie about it, because they find out you lie about it, they'll kill you. But you got to put your religion down. So all your government documents, like your license, your passport, all that says your religion on there. That way they can treat you the way they want to treat you. Uh, if you're Muslim, you have certain permissions. If you're not full Muslim, if say you're black Muslim, like a Somali over there, well, then you have a little more religious freedom, or freedom in general, than a Christian would, so to speak. You might not pay a jizya tax, but you might not be allowed into the sacred areas to worship properly with the other ladies, whatever it is. Give me a second. Something's not responding. All right. So, one more second. All right. So, anyway, let's get back to him real quick.
And we saw all that, and it's unwavering, past and present. And then you get the West bringing in this mentality in mass numbers into their countries, right? Same exact mentality. Reading the same core scriptures that are demonizing Christians and Jews and all non-Muslims and pagans and et cetera, saying, yeah, they're beneath me. I need to extort and financially. The Somalis, that whole scandal, what was it, $350 million was it Minnesota? Well, yeah. How do you think they rationalized it? They're Muslims. They're very Muslim, actually. This was, of course, what they were doing was honorable. You're dumb infidels, and we're taking the money that's rightfully due us. Okay, so we don't kill you. Okay, it's jizya. Oh boy. All right. Well, I will leave it there.
All right. So here's the problem. America, we have a mentality where if we're ever getting food assistance, we have a little bit of shame, a little bit of embarrassment from it, and until we can get ourselves out of that predicament and out of there, and then we don't talk about it. And so when we think about giving it to others who really need it, we think we're doing something good to help them get on the feet for a little while, so they can, you know, eventually stop feeling that same shame that we would feel, and get a job and get off of the food stamps. We apply that mentality to these people that don't have that mentality. Like he said, he is from Egypt. Okay, he is literally telling you from pure experience that they don't have that mindset. They are owed that free money. They are owed that free house. They are owed everything free, because you are the dog. So you go hunt the rabbit and bring it to them at their feet. You don't get to eat any of the rabbit, even if the owner told you could before you went and got it. You bring the whole rabbit back, okay? They do what they're going to do with it, and whether they throw you something at the end is up to them. And they don't throw you something. Look at all the countries that are now 100% Muslim. So they don't throw you anything, okay? But they're working on your feelers, okay? They're working on they know how you feel. They got the mindset down. That's why they're starting their attack now, because they've done worked their back end, and all these women and some men in these high positions in our county sheriffs, in the DA's office, like Al Green. Sorry, Al Green. Uh, you're compromised. You and that cowboy that you were on the news the other day with, y'all are compromised, because y'all are literally fighting for illegals to get out and be freed. Okay, sorry, I don't care what race you are. This is a racial. If you're illegal, you're illegal. And even if you're legal here some reason, and you're calling for Sharia law, it is time to just we already have it, a law. to pull citizenship for treason and to put you in prison for that and denaturalize you. Okay, we already have these laws. Trump, get on the ball, enforce this. Abbott, you better fix something. You are having problems like a mug uh, here in Texas. Okay, we need to get this stuff. Uh, Quit lightfooting it around. Okay. Anyway, let's. I think that's it, right?
There.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's go back to here. Go down to here. All right. So here's. Remember Harris Sultan. Go ahead and hit that. Get that all going. Get that thumbs up. Now let's jump right into this. Here's the proof, and it's right above Texas. So check it out.
I'm Christina Awayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. Outrage is erupting in Little Rock, Arkansas, over a city-approved Islamic residential project that requires buyers to sign a private Islamic bill of assurance where the community would be ruled by Sharia law. It will have 2 mosques, an Islamic school, clinic, and related facilities under ongoing control by the Linked Mosque organization. The project sits in the John Barrow neighborhood area of Little Rock, on a 6-acre site. City planning records show the Little Rock Planning Commission approved the New Africa development by the Islamic Center for Human Excellence, or ICHE, on a 10-0 vote in December of 2020. Okay, here are the details. 22 single-family homes planned with multiple homes already built.
10. You hear this? Just to let you know, nobody can sign a contract, okay, and it be binding for you to ignore the Constitution and practice only Sharia law. And that's what this contract is saying. If you purchase a home in here, that home, part of the HOA fee like structure that they have it as, part of that home paying for it. And even if you pay it completely off, the home and the land or whatever, you don't really own it, but you still pay that jizya tax. That's part of it. Forever, it goes to the mosque. The mosque takes that money in from the whole community and decides what they do with it, which is, of course, build another city, another 100 million or whatever. They build another city, and they just keep doing this over and over again, okay, until they take over all cities. And now the whole state will be nothing but representatives in Congress, and eventually all the states will have representatives in Congress of nothing but Muslims. And their plan is literally to do away with the president and in Congress and put them underneath the House of Representatives, subjugated to them. Now, the House of Representatives will be what's voted in from each state or each enclave, each epic city or the meadow or this one, whatever its name is. It's all the same thing. And it'll only be binding if you allow it to. Like, you could sue them. You could move into the house and sign the contract or whatever, or fake sign the contract with somebody else's name, move into the house if they don't check it, and then you could sue them. Because they can't do this according to our Constitution and according to state laws and stuff. They're literally creating their own sovereign land, and that's illegal. So don't let this happen. First and foremost, like I said, Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, y'all's whole committee that allows zoning and signs paperwork to allow property sales and businesses to operate like this are corrupted. They're being paid, okay, literally being paid by the back end. So Islamists are giving them enough money that they're pushing this through, or they're blind to the fact. I don't know which one. It's probably the money, though. So y'all need to hurry up and do emergency voting session, get them people out, and get your neighbor in. Get Mrs. Christie next door, or Mark Johnson down the road, and tell them you're going to have to fix this for us, buddy. I know you don't want to be in politics, but you got to fix this for us. We got no one else to trust but the people in our community. I just made a video. If you check my last video, I talked about how the family, the neighborhood, the neighborhoods, the community, and then the city, and then the cities, and the counties, and then the counties going with counties, and then counties to the state, and all that level. That's how you fix things. Okay, you got to keep those strong, and those are the people you want to vote in. You got to know who's there, and we got to fix it by getting some kind of background. Anyways, Let's finish this real quick.
And sold. Additional lots approved. 2 prayer halls totaling nearly 10,000 square feet. 1 2,953 square foot mosque on lot 7 and 1 6,750 square foot mosque on lot 23. A 4,500 square foot Islamic educational building and school. Health clinic, community garden, playground.
Health clinic, just to let you know, because they're going to be under Sharia law, though these people aren't going to be registered health practitioners with your state. They're just going to be people that they bring in. And they're only going to work on Muslims because a Muslim will not touch the infidel, the people who are worse than dogs. They hate dogs. They'll kill dogs, and you're less than them in their eyes. They are the superior race, so they will not give you medical care. So pretty much nobody's going to move in here but Muslims. That's it. It's going to be nothing but Muslims. And then when they hit a certain population, they're going to request their state, or when we do a census counting, they're going to be like, oh, they get a representative. And then they will vote one of themselves in. It'll be an imam. It'll be somebody who knows the faith well and go to Congress and fight to push all our laws out the way and eventually bring in Sharia through the federal system. And then do away with our checks and balances of the executive, legislative, and the judicial. And the legislative will be the final branch, because the legislative is what the cult of Islam is about. It's not a religion, people. Okay, sure, there's religion stuff thrown in the side. Muhammad literally did this for revenge because he got laughed out of Medina by the Israelites that were there, by the Jews. Okay, and then he came back with an army and killed them all, and that's why Medina and Mecca are the top cities, more so than Jerusalem's Temple Mount or anywhere else. That's why those are the top ones. That's the first ones he conquered, and he had to kill all the Jews, babies, women, everything. So, like I said, Ishmaelites hate Israelites, and Christians, we're just some kind of weird, funky person that took the Tanakh or the Old Testament and ran with it and turned God into 3 parts or something, even though that's not what he is. That's like saying a human is 3 parts, because we have a spirit inside that makes us alive. We have a body. You know what I'm saying? And so anyways, it makes no sense. But that's why they hate us. They think we perverted the Bible and turned God into 3 things and said that he came down and basically there's a son of man or something, or well, I don't know. They got it so confused that they don't care. You're retarded to them, and they're superior to you, and their God gives them rights to increasingly do bad things like killing, raping, and what do you call it, to everyone else, and it's okay because their God allows them to do that. And so, like I said, if Muhammad talked to somebody, it was Satan himself. That's all I can say. If Muhammad talked to somebody in a mountain, if he did, I don't think he did, but he could have, it's Satan. Because if you, like I said before, if you read the Quran in the order it was actually written down from the chronological text, it was all nice and dandy until the Jews laughed them out of that city. And then it was, oh, we need to go kill the Jews. And then after the Jews, wipe them off the face of the earth from blah, 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 whatever. And then Christians, too, they're even worse because they took the Jews' Bible, which supposedly Muhammad said was true and accurate. But we took the Injil, which is the New Testament, and corrupted it and turned God into 3 parts. And said he had a son and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, so they hate us, complete animosity towards us. And the first video I showed you is literally regular people playing soccer in a world soccer team that are saying that prayer that relates all to this. Like I said, when I break down just that one video alone, everybody's going to be so ahead of the game. Y'all going to be able to understand what we have to do, because they're willing to war. I'm talking about pure bloodshed 24/7 for the rest of our lives until we either submit, die, or we fight back and win. That's it. That's our 3 choices, guys. And death is going to be at the end of all 3 of them, but some will save you long enough until you make it somewhere else. But if you submit to this, I think it was Daniel 11 and Revelations 4, maybe. I'm not good at calling out verse addresses. But the second horse being when the second horse shows a third of the world will die. Right now, a third of the world is Muslims, a third of the world is Christians, and a third of the world is Indians, I think, or Hindus or something. I don't know. But anyways, a third's going to die. Is it going to be the Christians? Is it going to be the Muslims? Do we want to live in a world where Christians today help people so much that they have suicidal sympathy by allowing Muslims to come over and rape people? Like 250,000 girls got raped over there in the UK. Okay, that suicidal sympathy is what will either kill us or we stop that so we can go after the real problem. So anyway, let's get back to this final point.
And parking spaces, perpetual oversight by ICHE or the New Africa Homeowners Association. The binding Islamic Bill of Assurance that every buyer and seller must sign states, in part, buyers and sellers are aware that this development is for the purpose of creating a wholly owned residential, all Islamic community conforming to the social guidelines given in the Quran, and all parties agree to this purpose.
See? That's Sharia law. You are literally agreeing. In other words, women can't leave their house unless they're fully covered head to toe, finger to fingertip, to top of head, to bottom of toes. Okay, no skin showing. And when you do leave, you have to have an approved male. It has to be your uncle, your husband, your brother. If you're not married, you're gonna have to find a family member. They're gonna have to live with you permanently. So you'll permanently live with either your brother or your father for the rest of your life. And anytime you need to do something, they have to take you and escort you there and escort you back. You have to walk behind them. All kinds of crazy stuff. You're gonna be a slave. Like literally, if y'all women who have that suicidal sympathy, empathy that I was just talking about, are going to become worse than y'all have ever been in America. America's never had that done to their women. Okay, y'all are about to go back to like Stone Ages. Like these guys are literally going to be running the streets like they did in UK. They're going to be running the streets here in America, bashing you over the head. 18 of them's going to pound you up, okay, and then they're going to put you and sell you as a sex slave to their other buddies and make money off you. That's your jizya, okay? That's your tax. You will now be locked in cages and transported around the buildings, brought into buildings, and 19, 20 guys that come in and pay $5 or whatever their money is that they're going to use and do what they do to you. They get to beat you, make you bleed. They get to do their sexual thing, everything, and then they leave. The next guy comes in, starts it over. There's no rest for you, okay? And then you'll be put back in a cage, taken to another building to make more money. You're going to be done 100 guys a day, probably driven to multiple different homes, okay? Like 20 people per home, and it only got to go to 5 homes in a day for you to get it done. And I don't know if you know, these men, okay, they only last a couple of minutes. So that's why they like to beat you and make you bleed out your eye after punching you and choking you and stuff, okay? Because the sex doesn't last that long. But anyways, this is the contract they're talking about having you sign. Like I said, mostly it's going to be Muslims there. But once it's all Muslims there and they hit that certain point and the census comes around, they'll now get a mayor, they'll have to get a police chief, all the police officers, and of course they're going to pull it from the community. They're only going to follow Sharia law, and then they put a congressperson in there, and that congressperson only has to follow Sharia law in the compound. So when he goes to Congress, he's only going to fight for Sharia law. If he fights for anything else, they'll kill him. Their own people will kill him, get another guy and put him into Congress and send him up there until they find one that just stays up there the whole time fighting for it. So we have to stand up against this, guys. Let's get on with this.
It includes enforceable rules on architecture, maintenance, and Quranic moral codes, aka Sharia, such as restrictions on alcohol, with a mosque-linked HOA holding permanent control. That's what you need to know. In Dallas, Christina Awano.
Does that remind you of something else? This is what they did. This is what they tried to do in Texas with Epic City, which was even bigger. They were going for 1,000 homes.
Welcome to Epic 2.0. Epic City is more than just a neighborhood. It's a way of life.
Way of life, Sharia infused way of life. The Islamic way of life in the heart of Texas.
A meticulously designed community that brings Islam to the forefront.
I don't know if you know this. Another one of those demi rules is anyone who's not a full Muslim, one they consider. So the Somali Muslims don't have this right. So only the full Muslims, whatever whatever their houses are, their lowest point, the mosque or whatever, if anyone puts up, say, an antenna on top of it, like a FM antenna or a satellite or whatever, and accidentally goes higher than another Muslim's house, that's like you lording over them, which you better hope for. This is how you need to start thinking. You better hope they kill them, because if not, they're going in those cages and they're going to be taken around from house to house in this community. Look how many houses that is, thousands of homes. They're going to be taken from house to house so that every man, and it doesn't count as cheating. So the wives doesn't tell their Muslim men, oh, you can't do that slave girl in that cage. No, that's your right as a Muslim man to do that. And that's why they can have 4 wives. And that's why the 4 wives don't care if he's out there raping our American women or any women. That's not Muslim. Doesn't matter if it's whatever race you're thinking of. Doesn't matter. That's why it's already happened in UK, Europe, everywhere. It's like, this is what's happening, guys. We are in a World War III, and it's not even the war you thought. It's not Ukraine possibly blowing up, bringing everybody in. It's not Iran possibly blowing up, bringing everybody in, even though Iran is part of it. Because Iran's trying to distract us over there so that we don't have the resources here to pay attention to what's actually going on here, like in Arkansas and in Texas and stuff, which we're fighting. We already got this shut down and yada, yada. But Arkansas approved it already. They tried to approve it, and that's where we stopped them at, with the approval part. We found it was some laws that were illegal. Then we found the loopholes they were using. Abbott created, a chick created a new law. Abbott signed it in, and it closed those loopholes. So now they had to cancel it. I bet you it's the same funding of Epic City / the Meadow here in Texas. They went just north of Little Rock, Arkansas, and decided, hey, we'll do it right here instead. So, like I said, it's not that it's coming, okay? That's why this title of this video is Wake Up to Islam. The war is starting, okay? It already started. So you wake up, because this is what's coming. All right, guys, this one's a long one. I wanted to be short so I can get out just enough to hopefully have y'all understand that these next videos that I'm about to be pulling out on this series is very important. We're fixing to break down to the nitty gritty of past, present, and future, and see what they did in the past, how they took over, how they moved and started over again, all the way into from Africa, the first places that on our side, so American freedom, and he's witnessing it in Australia. So Australia needs to get on the ball, because they only have a few million people. We got hundreds of million. Australia's only got, like, I think it's 50 or 30 million, something like that. Anyways, and so they're important big time over there, just like they are in Britain and UK and Europe. And so they're going to be overran faster. So they got less time. We're big enough and strong enough that we can fight back if we start now. So all y'all, I love y'all. I'm literally doing this because I love y'all. I love the world. I want us to live in happiness. I want us to live in peace. I want us to live with a government that doesn't overstep. Okay. And people don't use their suicidal empathy and cause us to be in this predicament like we already are. We got to shut that down. Okay. So if you have suicidal sympathy, you need to stick with this video, because this video is going to show you that it's okay to have sympathy for people, but it's also okay to stand up in order for you to keep maintaining that sympathy. Because if all the people who sympathize with these people are dead or in cages being taken house to house for a slave, how are you going to have any more sympathy for anybody to help anybody else out? Think about that. All right, guys. I'm in this now. Thanks again to the donors for me to be able to do this. I've noticed my voice has been pretty clear. So Y'all have a good time. Love y'all. Peace.